Alright guys, today we're going to do something a little bit different. As you all are well aware by now that I am a console player, specifically Xbox. And Xbox has, for my money, one of the best deals ongoing in gaming in that free with your subscription to their live gaming service. You get access to a gigantic library of constantly rotating games included, so you can play as many as you want at your leisure. So we're going to be doing a new series related specifically to the Xbox Game Pass and games that are in there. I play a ton of them. I am a big fan of a lot of different types of games, and yes, I do obviously like some big studio blockbuster title games, but in general I would say the games, at least volume, that I enjoy the most tend to come from small and relatively unknown or mostly unknown studios. And the Xbox has a lot of really good indie titles. So today we're just going to do a quick glance at what they have in here, and then I'm going to talk about one specifically that I just started a couple days ago. This is a part 2 of a game that I played the first part of, but as you scroll through you can see it's all in alphabetical order, and I am scrolling. I mean, I don't even know how many games I've scrolled through, but it's got to be well over 100 games that you have at your disposal. But we're going to be doing a new series based on Xbox Game Pass games. Kind of game reviews. Is it worth your time? Should you download it? Should you play it? And we'll also do kind of walkthroughs, hints, tips, guides for any of the games that are in here. But for this very first Xbox Game Pass kind of new series I'm going to be adding to the channel, we're going to be jumping over to the game I just started most recently here. And that is here, Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterfly. You can see the first one is on here already as well. I played that last year. Great game, and this one just dropped in the last, week or two. And let's just drill in. I'll kind of give you an idea of what it's about, and then we will, of course, have some gameplay in the background. We'll kind of walk you through the style of game. And I think I will probably eventually do some achievement walkthroughs for any people that are interested. Most of it you can tell as soon as you're logged in if you're interested in that, but some of them are secret achievements that are tied to spoilers, so you will have to kind of figure them out. But this game here, Coffee Talk 2, if we scroll over, you can see it's by Chorus Worldwide Games, released this year, 2023. It's not particularly big, it's not even 1 gig, and it's got kind of this retro art style. It's very much a story-driven and narrative-driven game, and the whole premise is that you own a coffee shop that's open kind of during the burning the midnight oil hours, and it's set in future, but not distant future. I think this game takes place starting in September of 2023, but it's in a world where there are, mythological creatures and monsters and aliens are part of integrated society. But the whole shtick is that you're a barista and you make relationships with the people as you run this coffee shop. We're going to pop over here as well, just to kind of show you. Obviously, there's just a couple stills, but you can kind of see this is what it looks like in game when you're actually making the drinks. You can throw it away, try again. You can serve it to them. You can give the item. Over here is kind of the interactive. You can kind of see on the wall in the back of this picture I'm highlighting with a red border. There's ingredients on a shelf in the background. That's the list of ingredients that you have for making all of your drinks. There's always a base, and then there's additives, and depending on the volume and the order that you put them in, it makes completely different drinks. So there is an element of learning and trial and error, but that makes it pretty fun. Over here is just another still of some in-game dialogue, but I'm just going to quickly click on this preview trailer here that they have on the game. It'll show you a nice little opening cutscene. Like I said, it was in 2023. Here's a quick little bit. They'll kind of show you a little bit of dialogue. This is kind of the opening credit. Takes place in Seattle, 2023. Some more bits of dialogue. I'm sure they'll show some of the coffee minigame action. Some of the background stories. Yep, that's it. That's the items. He's a main character there, Officer Georgie. So now you're whipping up what he asked for. And there you go. So I'm first just going to open this up. I'm going to open this up. So there will actually be a little bit of gameplay going in the background. But yeah, very, very interesting game. So if you've ever played any of the Telltale game series games, it's not dissimilar to that style. I guess you could almost call it like a graphic novel type game, because that's effectively what it is. This one's in kind of a retro, I don't want to say 8-bit, 16-bit, maybe 16 to 32-bit, small, kind of blocky, pixelated. It's got this classic kind of throwback look to it. It takes place in Seattle. Both games do. But this is kind of the progress. As always, my character is, of course, Motoko. And I'm just going to load right in so you can at least kind of see what this is about. Just play just a little bit here. We're not going to keep it up through the entirety, but just kind of give you a little background here. So this was the newest chapter, I think chapter 3, maybe chapter 4. You'll see that I'm kind of talking to myself in the background. There's a cat that popped into the coffee bar in the last time we were in, and now poof, there we go. There is exactly what I'm talking about. So this is a cat person that is perfectly normal in this world, and you just kind of chat and catch up with all of your customers and forge relationships, and they'll tell you this and that. There's actually pretty deep story that goes into it. There's no voice acting. It's all just kind of, it throws the text on the screen, so yes, you have to read if you're into that. Maybe, not a good thing if you're not. But if you're into kind of the story-driven narrative graphic novel, it's the kind of game where you can just sit back and relax. It's a very stress-free gaming experience with good character development and good storytelling. And I love games like that. I absolutely love them. So you can kind of see we're over here talking to each other. I'm not going to continue down this full path because I'm just going to end up restarting this chapter, but you'll kind of see down in the bottom left corner, there's kind of an iPhone looking icon. There's a drawer on the right side, 2 different inputs, kind of dot bubbles, and then like a press start. So over here on the left, if you hit X, pulls up your smartphone. Over here, this app on the smartphone in the game, the brew pad, this is where it stores all the recipes that you discover for all the different types of drinks that you make, and you unlock them as you kind of go through, and some of them you have to just kind of discover. Some of them are pretty obvious, and you can make them, throw them away, try again, try to get new things that your customers might like. It's kind of the main functionality of the game aside from the story-driven part. Over here, this is kind of the generic Facebook rip-off app on this phone in the game called Tomodachi. That is a play on the Japanese word for friend, tomodachi, and this is obviously called Tomodachi. Yeah, pretty interesting. Down here, shuffled. This is the in-game music. You can scroll through, change the tracks at will, and it will play through any that you set. And then down here is just kind of in-game news, part of the lore within the game. So that's kind of cool. That little drawer icon on the bottom, you hold in the left trigger on the Xbox, and you'll see items that you have either picked up that people left here or that you have been gifted, and you can give them back to people. Sometimes they'll say, hey, give this to this person when they come in next. So yeah, it's all part of the story in this game. Down in the bottom right, the first one, the Y icon, that's if you want to scroll back through any bit of the conversation and look at it again that's already happened in the chapter that you're currently on. And then the bottom one that's saying, the equivalent of the start button, that is just your options menu, resume, save, load, options, main menu. So that's it. It's a pretty basic game, but it's really, really fun. So without going in depth or ruining any of the story, this is kind of the first snippet of what this game is about. One of the many games of this type that are available on the X Pass. Who is this game for? Well, it's for people that, maybe don't want to always have to be thinking too hard while they're gaming. They like a good story. They like good character development. This is where you can just sit back and chill. Maybe have a coffee, have a beer, whatever floats your boat, and just, tap with A through it. And you will eventually get to segments where you're making drinks for people. That's kind of a mini game built into the game, but that's the shtick. That's the shtick. I played the first one. I really, really enjoyed it. I went back and replayed it a few times and ended up getting the platinum on it. This one, I just started, so I'll have a lot of cleanup. Scrolling over, I'm sitting at a whopping 6 of 53 achievements, and you'll see that they do tell you a fair bit in there, but once you scroll down, you'll see that there are a lot of this achievement is secret, play to unlock it, play more. Most of those are just tied to ones that you're going to unlock organically by playing the stories, so they avoid giving you spoilers, which is quite nice. And you'll see in the left-hand corner now, there's a little red icon on the kind of smartphone in the game. That just tells you when there's a new update, a new notification. Tomodachi is the one that gets hit the most often. You'll see all your friends that you know, and then if you scroll over to stories, that's posts that your friends that you know will post in this kind of Facebook ripoff, and you can like it by pressing X or whatever. It's etc. etc. But very cool game, guys. I really, really enjoy it. This is one that definitely, if you're into these kind of visual novel type games, it's very, very cool. I like the art style. I think it's a unique game in a unique space. Sure, there are other games that are kind of in the same vein, but this one I think is particularly well done. And as I understand, sadly, the game's creator tragically passed away within the last year, but they did complete the game. So I don't know if anybody else, if it was more than one person in the studio, if it was a solo project. Hopefully we'll get some more iterations of this game. But this is one that I would highly, highly recommend if you're into good story type games. The action is the extent of reading through the dialogue, meeting the new characters, the kind of mini game with making the drinks for people, and just being their ear. It's like the coffee version of your local neighborhood bartender. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. This is the first in a new series we're going to be doing, so I'm going to have a new playlist dedicated to Game Pass games, and of course we'll put different tags on there if we're doing a straight up review, if we're doing walkthroughs, achievement hunted guides, whatever the case may be. But I figured there's a lot of people maybe that would be interested in this, so I figured I'd just start doing something different to add to the channel. I am an Xbox player after all, and I have played a ton of these games. Some have been in there for a long time, some are brand new, but they're always adding new ones, and yeah, it's really great value. If you don't spend a lot of time checking out stuff in the Game Pass, I recommend it. There's a lot of hidden gems in there, and this is one that I would say fits that bill, and I would indeed highly recommend. Guys, as always, thanks so much for checking in today. We will catch you on the next one.